Krishnan, and I want to bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra on this. Mr. Mitra, we all know Dr. Radhakrishnan was a great philosopher also. If Savarkar was given to only violence and the expression of violence as and violence as an expression of what he believed in, what he stood for, would Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan be talking about Savarkar's character as a beacon for a new generation of Indians? I don't think so.
So, thanks, Rahul. Look, there's many questions out here. First of all, I can, selectively quote at least 100 different passages from Gandhi, to claim that he was violent if you decontextualize it. So, for example, where he says that, if I were a Jew in Europe, I would commit mass suicide to shame Hitler. Or given a choice between cowardice and violence, I will choose violence any day. Okay, there are hundreds of different things. There is also places where he has praised Hitler and Mussolini at one point of time. Remember, on his Europe trip, he was clicked with Count Ciano, who was the foreign minister of Mussolini. Right? So you want to go down that path, the selective quotation path, anybody can go down. The fact remains, not just Sarvapalli Dr. Radhakrishnan, but also Indira Gandhi also, praised him for the memorial. I think you showed the letter the last time, the 1981 or 82 letter, right? So, remember, history is, it's all shades of gray. There is no black and white in history. All right. We need to remember that. Sure, was Iqbal was a great proponent of Hindu-Muslim unity up to a point. But beyond a point, the way his ideas developed, it went on getting more and more towards Pakistan's separate electorates and things like that. And remember, this starts with the sort of Mordi-Minto reforms of 1909, which grants these separate electorates. And finally, that kind of got diluted by the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms in the Government of India Act 1919. So, again, you see this progression. People evolve during their lives. All right, to hold something that they've said at one point of time against them at another point of time is just bizarre. Now, let's come to the current relevance of Muhammad Iqbal and Veer Savarkar. I can show you 100 examples. One of the things that keeps getting quoted against him, he wrote an apology letter and he was willing to cooperate with the British. I would urge you to go look at what Israel's founding father David Ben-Gurion writes very, very clearly, that the coming fight is with the Arabs. We have to cooperate with the British till they make us free. He was very clear about it. He was crystal clear about it. It's there in all his writings. And that is something that Savarkar clearly believed in and achieved by the end of it. Right? So he was looking at things in a very different tactical sense. Now let's even look at how long Savarkar spent in jail. Gandhi spent 2,338 days in jail, give or take 10 days depending on how you count. That approximates to about 6.5 years. Nehru spent about almost, say, 9 years in jail, so 3,259 days. Do you know how many days Savarkar spent, Rahul? Guess?
Yeah, almost a generation. Yes.
12 years and 6 months.
Yeah.
10 years in Kalapani and then a further 2.5 years in Ratnagiri prison. Right. Now, remember, what Savarkar had to go through in Andamans was not like the 5-star suites that were given to Gandhi and Nehru. Aga Khan's palace, I don't know if you've been to the Aga Khan's palace, but it's definitely not a jail. I mean, if I spent my 43 days in jail at Aga Khan's palace, I would be very happy. I can honestly tell you that.
My grandfather served Gandhi there. And it wasn't a palace. It wasn't a palace, Abhijit.
Well, the Aga Khan palace is very much a palace.
My paternal grandfather served Gandhi there.
One second. Let him finish, Mr. Poonawalla.
But Abhijit is right. Abhijit is right about the Aga Khan palace. So, Gandhi lost Kasturba.
So remember,
let him finish. Would you let him finish, please?
Even the caliber of jailing was of a completely different nature. Next, is it true that Savarkar played a role in the political development of India? Ultimately, look, history is a subject that is very dynamic. It keeps changing depending on the relevance of a political idea. What is relevant today is not relevant before. Before, when we were kids growing up, all we used to learn was about kings and queens.
Yes.
Henry VIII had so many wives, Henry the whatever had so many wives. Today we learn it as a humanities, how climate change affected history, etc., etc. So when the political climate changes, your history books also change. The context of them, the way of teaching them changes.
Okay.
At one point of time, Iqbal may be important, but today you tell me what is the political relevance of knowing Iqbal as opposed to learning about the political ideas of, say, Savarkar, which is the ruling dispensation today.
Okay. Let me get in Dr.